Choma was on her way to the market when she saw a weak old woman and 2 children beside her with plastic bowls begging for money from people passing the roadside. The weak old woman looked very fragile and the children also looked very hungry. Choma was moved with pity, so she opened her purse and brought out 2 coins to give to the hungry children. The weak old woman thanked Choma so much, but as Choma walked past the weak old woman, she saw a man who was standing not too far from the weak old woman and the children. The man was wearing a very expensive suit with luxurious shoes. He looked very rich, but something was strange about the man. He had tears in his eyes and pain in his heart as he watched the old woman and the 2 hungry children who were begging for money. As Choma walked past the man, he looked at her and their eyes met. Suddenly, the man looked shocked and surprised that Choma was looking at him and started walking towards Choma. Choma became very scared. She wanted to run, but the man begged her not to run away. "Please don't run away. I won't harm you. Can you see me?" The man asked her with tears flowing down his eyes. Choma didn't know what to do, so she nodded and said yes. To her greatest surprise, the man went on his knees, held Choma's leg, begging her to help him. Other people who were passing by looked at Choma as they walked past her and shook their heads in pity because they thought Choma had gone mad, which was why she was talking to herself. They didn't know that Choma had the power to see ghosts. "What do you want from me?" Choma asked the man impatiently because she wasn't comfortable talking to a ghost in public. The weak old woman begging by the roadside is my mother, and the children beside her are my children. I had a car accident many years ago in which my wife and I died. Ever since then, my mother and children have been beggars on the streets. They had no idea that I had a lot of money in my bank account before I died. Please help me. "So what do you want me to do?" "Please tell my mother to go home and check under my bed. She would see some bank documents. Tell her to take the documents to the bank and see the bank manager, so she would have access to all the money I worked for when I was alive, and my children would stop suffering." Choma had pity on the man and went to sit beside the old weak woman. She told the old weak woman all that the man said, but the woman didn't believe her at first. But after Choma told the old woman some things about her son that no one else knew, she believed Choma. She thanked Choma so much and prayed for her. But Choma could tell that the old woman wasn't educated, so she offered to follow her home and showed her the right documents. The man's ghost thanked Choma greatly for her help, then he vanished. When Choma followed the old woman home, she checked under her son's bed just as the man's ghost told her and was very happy when she saw the bank documents. She checked the documents properly and was glad when she saw that the man was truly wealthy. Then she told the old woman the amount of money in her son's account before she left. The old woman took the documents and went to the bank as fast as her legs could carry her. When she got to the bank, the security men refused to let her inside. "This is a banking hall, madam, not a market where anybody can enter and beg for money. Please turn around." The old woman felt very embarrassed by the words of the security guards. She opened her bag and showed the security man the bank document she had with her. After the security man saw the document, he apologized to the old woman for judging her based on how she looked and allowed her enter the bank. When the old woman entered the bank, she requested to see the bank manager. As usual, the staff in the bank laughed at her because of her torn clothes that she was wearing and how she looked. But after seeing the documents she was holding, they apologized deeply to her for making fun of her and showed her the bank manager's office. As soon as she entered the bank manager's office, the bank manager was surprised to see such a dirty old woman in his office. But when he saw the document she was holding, he had no choice but to ask her to sit down. He went through the documents and was shocked to see the amount of money that her dead son had in his accounts. He quickly went on his computer and transferred all the money into his own account because he knew that the old woman was too weak to do anything. When he was done transferring the money, he lied to the old woman. "I'm sorry, madam, but there is no money in your son's account. It is empty. Your son withdrew all the money before he died." The old woman became very shocked. She collected the documents and showed the bank manager where the amount in the account was written. But the bank manager lied to her that the documents were outdated. Her son's ghost appeared in the bank office, but there was nothing he could do because he was a ghost. He watched as his mother walked away from the office in shame while the bank manager started laughing because he had swindled the old woman. The old man's ghost didn't know what he would do. There was no one he could meet because no one could see him in physical except Chioma. So he went to the roadside where he saw Chioma for the first time and stayed there, waiting patiently in hopes that he would see Chioma again. Luckily for him, after 5 days, he saw Chioma one morning walking down the road. He quickly rushed to meet Chioma and told her about what happened in the manager's office. "The man refused to give my mother the money. Instead, he transferred all my money into his own account and lied to my mother that my bank account is empty. Please, help me once again." Chioma became very angry when she heard what the bank manager did, so she decided to meet the bank manager herself. The next day, she went to the bank to see the bank manager, accompanied by the ghost of the man. When she entered the office of the bank manager, she saw many ghosts inside his office, but she ignored all of them. "I am here on behalf of Dozie, the man whose mother came to claim his money yesterday, but you lied to her." The bank manager became confused, but when he remembered the old woman that came to see him the previous day, he started laughing. "I will tell you the same thing I told the old woman. There is no money in the bank account." "We both know that is a lie," Chioma said. Even if it was a lie, what can you do? What would you do about it?" "The owner of the account is right here with me, and he's not happy. He wants you to give his mother all his money." The bank manager started laughing at Chioma because he thought Chioma was lying. Suddenly, Chioma started hearing the cry of one of the ghosts inside the man's office. She looked around his office and saw a young girl of about 17 years old by the corner of the office crying. Chioma stood up and went to where the young girl was. The bank manager was looking at Chioma as if she had gone mad because he couldn't see the young girl that Chioma was talking to. Chioma asked the young girl why she was crying, and the young girl called Jessica explained to Chioma that the bank manager had raped her many years ago, and when she informed him that she was pregnant, he killed her and disposed her corpse so no one would find out. Chioma felt really heartbroken after hearing the young girl's story. Chioma went back to where the manager sat and told him, "If you don't do the right thing by giving this old woman her son's money, then I will tell the whole world about what you did to Jessica, how you got her pregnant and murdered her in cold blood because she refused to abort the pregnancy." The bank manager became suddenly shocked because no one knew about her affair with Jessica or how she went missing. Not even his most trusted friend knew about his encounter with Jessica. The bank manager knew he was in trouble, so he went on his knees and started pleading with Chioma to forgive him. "I do not need your apology. All you need to do is to return the money to the old woman. If not, I will tell the world about your evil deeds." Chioma stood up and left the office. Immediately, the bank manager opened his computer and quickly sent all the money back into the account. Then he got the address of the old woman and went to her house personally. He apologized to the old woman for lying about her son's money and pleaded for her forgiveness. The old woman was very happy. She thanked Chioma for her help and also prayed for her. Meanwhile, the ghost of Jessica that the bank manager killed wasn't at rest. She visited Chioma in her dream one night and pleaded with Chioma to tell her sister Anita what happened to her because her family has been very worried about her for many years since they couldn't find her or her corpse. Chioma thanked Jessica's ghost for helping her with the information that she threatened the bank manager with and promised to tell Anita what happened to her. Fortunately for Chioma, Jessica's sister Anita was attending the same school with her. During break one time, Chioma told Anita that she saw Jessica's ghost, but Anita didn't believe Chioma. But after Chioma told her a lot of things about Jessica that no one else knew, Anita believed her. She broke down in tears after hearing how her only sister was killed like a chicken. Chioma also told Anita where she would find enough evidence to implicate the bank manager. Anita went to report the bank manager at the police station with the evidence that Chioma told her about, and the bank manager was arrested and sent to life imprisonment for the murder of Jessica. This made Jessica very happy, and her spirit finally rested in peace. After the bank manager was sent to prison, Chioma and Anita became very close friends. They would always spend time with each other and also study together. After a few years, Chioma and Anita finished secondary school. Chioma got a scholarship to study in one of the best universities in the country, while Anita traveled abroad to continue her studies. After Anita traveled abroad to continue her studies, she lost contact with Chioma. While in the university, Chioma made a new friend called Aminat. Aminat was from a poor home, but she was very beautiful and well brought up. Chioma didn't tell Aminat that she could see and communicate with ghosts. Just a few months after their graduation from the university, Aminat visited Chioma one afternoon and showed Chioma her engagement ring. "Chioma, I am getting married," Aminat said happily with a big smile on her face. Chioma was very happy for her, although it came as a shock because she had no idea that Aminat was in a relationship with anyone. "Congratulations, my dear. So gist me, how did it happen? Who is he and how did you meet?" Chioma asked anxiously with great excitement. "Well, we met a few weeks ago and he told me that he loves me and would like to marry me immediately because he doesn't want to lose me to another man." "Really? Just like that?" "Yes, so I was so surprised. He's very straightforward. He met my parents the following day with a lot of gifts and he told them he wants to marry me. Like play. He proposed to me with this expensive ring. He's very rich, Chioma. Very, very rich." "So what's his name? What do you know about him?" "His name is Yusuf. He owns a lot of companies and he's also very kind. He was married before, but his wife died in a car crash without giving him a child." The two friends celebrated Aminat's engagement, but something didn't feel right to Chioma. She did some investigation on her own part about Yusuf's ex-wife, but she was told that his ex-wife had died mysteriously, leaving a trail of unanswered questions regarding her death. However, everything became clear to Chioma one fateful night. That night, something felt very wrong. Chioma was laying on her bed when she started hearing faint voices and whispers. It sounded like the voice of a child. It was soft, but it sounded very urgent. She stood up from her bed and looked outside the window. She saw a man with red eyes and blood splattered over his clothes, looking at her from outside the window. But she already knew it was a bad ghost, so she closed her curtains and drew a line with some salt on her window to prevent it from coming in, and then she went back to lay down on her bed. Immediately she closed her eyes. The faint whispers and voice came again, but this time it was clearer than before. It was the voice of a woman, and the voice sounded very familiar. Yet Chioma was unable to recall where she knew the voice from. But Chioma quickly understood that it was a ghost in desperate need, and this ghost had something very important to say. It said, "His love is a myth, and believing in him would be the beginning of your end. Flee now while you still can, or join me in the afterlife." Chioma quickly sat up in confusion. The words of the ghost were scary, but Chioma had mastered her gift over the years, so she knew that the message wasn't for her because she had never been in a relationship with any man, nor had she loved any man in her life. The message was for her best friend Aminat, and Chioma knew this. It was a message from Yusuf's ex-wife to Aminat, warning her of an impending danger. Choma suddenly became very restless because she really didn't understand the totality of what the ghost meant. The wedding date was fixed to be celebrated in a week and time was already running out. Choma picked up her phone and called Aminat immediately and requested to see her as early as possible the following day because it was already very late that night. Then Choma laid back on the bed to sleep. But a question bothered her deeply. How would I convince Aminat that she is in danger? How would I reveal to her that I can see ghosts and spirits? How would I make her believe me? Choma asked herself these numerous questions before she was able to fall asleep. The next day, Choma and Aminat met in a restaurant where they often had lunch together. Choma's heart was beating very fast as she thought of what to say to Aminat and how to say it. Choma, what's the matter? You know you can trust me, Aminat said while looking at Choma deep into her eyes. Suddenly, a woman in a white gown and black veil on her head appeared behind Aminat. It was impossible to see the woman's face because of the veil. Choma startled a bit, but she was relaxed when the woman told her that she was Yusuf's ex-wife. But the ghost's voice sounded very familiar to Choma. Choma, please talk to me, Aminat said once again when she saw that Choma was distracted. I think you should call off your engagement with Yusuf. He's not who you think he is. Your life is at risk. Eh? Please tell me you're trying to prank me. Yusuf has been very good to me and my family since we met. I've had no reason to doubt his intentions for me, and now you're asking me to call off our wedding. Are you insane? The ghost already knew that Aminat wouldn't believe Choma, so she started telling Choma some personal things about Yusuf that no one else knows except Yusuf and those who are very close to him. As the ghost was telling Choma these details, Choma was also telling Aminat immediately. I've not seen Yusuf before, Aminat, but I can tell you that he has a birthmark on his back. His favorite beer is Golda and he has 3 cars. His favorite color is blue and he is left-handed. Aminat became very shocked at how accurately Choma described Yusuf. With surprise on her face, she asked Choma, how do you know all this about my fiance? Have you met him before? No, I have not. His ex-wife is talking to me. Aminat, I have a special gift. I can see ghosts and communicate with spirits. You have to believe me, Aminat. Your fiance's ex-wife didn't die in an accident like Yusuf claimed. She was murdered by Yusuf in cold blood. What? What are you saying? What do you mean? Yusuf is a murderer. How come you can see his ex-wife and I can't? Aminat had a lot of questions and Choma answered them all, but yet she wasn't totally convinced. She needed concrete proof that Choma was telling her the truth. So Choma told her about a secret room in Yusuf's mansion that no one else knew of except Yusuf. She gave Aminat the combination code to the secret room and instructed her to enter the room whenever Yusuf was not around. Aminat thanked her and left. Later that day, when Aminat and Yusuf were on a date, Aminat brought up the topic about his ex-wife. Sweetheart, please, I want to ask you a question. What really happened to your ex-wife? Yusuf looked at her strangely, but he didn't want to appear suspicious. So he smiled and answered, My dear, she died in a car crash many years ago. I told you this before. Why are you asking me again? Is there a problem? No, there isn't. I just felt the need to be clarified. I'm sorry if it made you uncomfortable. I'd love to spend the night at your place today. Is that okay? I have a meeting with my director tonight, but if you can stay home alone, then you are welcome. Aminat couldn't wait for night to fall. She couldn't even sit at a place when she visited Yusuf's mansion. She kept pacing up and down in the sitting room, waiting for him to leave the house. It didn't take long before Yusuf left the house for the meeting he previously spoke about, and Aminat sneaked into his room. She followed the direction that Choma gave her, and just as Choma said, she found a secret room with a very thick door protected with the latex technology. Aminat inserted the code Choma gave her and the door opened instantly. Immediately, Aminat believed all that Chioma told her because it was impossible that Chioma would know about the secret room and its combination when she has never been to Yusuf's mansion. Aminat pushed the door open, and what she saw shocked her to the bones. She could feel her legs trembling as she scanned the secret room. There were 4 big mirrors inside the secret room, and the walls were all painted red. In the middle of the room was a luxurious coffin with a glass transparent cover. Aminat looked into the coffin and saw Yusuf lying lifeless inside the coffin. She became very confused because she vividly saw Yusuf leaving the house with his car, so she didn't understand how Yusuf was also in the coffin. Aminat also saw an altar inside the secret room, but in the middle of the altar was the fresh head of a woman, impaled on a spike like a carved god. Aminat was visibly shaking and trembling. She ran out of the room before she would lose her senses. She became traumatized by what she saw. She quickly entered her car and drove straight to Chioma's place. She was still very fortunate to find Chioma awake. She told Chioma all that she saw in the secret room, with her voice breaking with tears and fear still in her heart. Then she told Chioma about the head she saw in the room as well. As she described the head, it sounded like someone Chioma knew. A lot of questions started running through Chioma's mind. She tried to remember the voice of the ghost and the features of the face. Suddenly, she screamed in shock when she finally realized who it was. The ex-wife of Yusuf was Anita, her best friend in secondary school, who was the sister of Jessica, the young girl killed by the bank manager. Chioma realized why the ghost had a veil on her face. It was because her head was cut off after she was killed. Suddenly, the ghost appeared once again and Chioma called its name. "Anita," Chioma said with a shaky voice, hoping that she was not right. But to her disappointment, she was right. The ghost was her friend Anita, who traveled outside the country to further her education, but lost contact with Chioma immediately she got abroad. Chioma broke down in tears and her heart became very heavy. "What happened to you?" Chioma asked Anita's ghost. Aminat sat on a chair in the living room, watching Chioma talk to herself because she couldn't see Anita's ghost. With a faceless voice, Anita told Chioma, "I deeply loved him, but I had no idea he was a ritualist. He gave me everything I wanted, and he made sure I lacked nothing. I never knew it was a trap to lure me into his life. After our marriage, I came home unexpectedly one day and caught him sleeping with a goat. I was shocked to my bones. I have been hearing of bestiality, but I didn't know it was real. I tried to run away, but Yusuf ran after me and caught me. Then he killed me, cut off my head, and staged a fake accident with my body, so everyone thought I died in a car crash." Chioma felt deeply hurt and heartbroken. She narrated all that Anita said to Aminat, and together they vowed they would expose Yusuf and put an end to his atrocities. But Anita was not the first victim of Yusuf. He had killed a lot of people in the past, either to preserve his wealth or to conceal his secrets. The ghost of all the people he had killed came to Chioma and they all narrated their death experience to her. They all told Chioma secrets that she could use to expose Yusuf to the world and show everyone who he truly was. The next day, Amina told her parents that she can't marry Yusuf because he is not who he claimed to be. Her parents were very disappointed and angry. They threatened to disown Aminat if she didn't go ahead with the marriage, but Aminat told them that she didn't care. Then she went to Yusuf's mansion to tell him that she can't go ahead with the marriage. When she got there, she met Yusuf in the living room with 3 strange men that she has never seen before. Yusuf was very happy when he saw her. He got up and hugged her and asked her to join them, but Aminat told him that she had something important to tell him. "My love, what is it?" "I'm deeply sorry, Yusuf. I can't marry you. Please forgive me." "What do you mean you can't marry me? After all the plans I've made? Do you want me to die?" Yusuf asked with anger written visibly on his face. I don't want to die like your ex-wife and the women before her. Please find someone else. Aminat boldly told him and turned to leave. But immediately she turned around. The 3 men she saw earlier were standing in front of the door and prevented her from leaving. They were all wearing a red lining. Aminat knew instantly that there was trouble. The ghost of other victims that accompanied Aminat into the house quickly alerted Chioma and asked her to call the police. The 3 men captured Aminat and tied her hands and legs like an animal. Then they took her into the secret room. But this time, there were 8 men standing inside the room, all wearing red linings and holding a clay pot which contained a burning candle. Yusuf and the 3 men placed Chioma inside the luxurious coffin and closed it. Then suddenly, an old strange man appeared out of thin air. He moved towards the coffin and smiled at Yusuf. Very good. You brought your sacrifice in time. All we need is her heart. The old man looked at all the men in the secret room and gave each of them a leaf to hold with their lips. Then he started saying some strange incantations. Immediately, Chioma showed up at Yusuf's residence with 6 policemen. They entered his living room and searched the entire house, but there was no sign of Yusuf. After they gave up on finding Yusuf, Chioma led them to the secret room, hoping they would be there. She opened the door using the code that Anita told her before and saw the members of the cult already prepared to kill Aminat. The policemen captured all the cult members, including Yusuf, but the old elderly man vanished into thin air to evade capturing. Aminat was rescued and all the cult members were sent to prison. Aminat's parents apologized to her for threatening to disown her without trying to know the reason why she called off the marriage. They also thanked Chioma for saving their daughter's life. The souls of all the ghosts that Yusuf killed transitioned to the great beyond peacefully after Yusuf was captured and exposed. Afterwards, Chioma visited Anita's parents and informed them about what truly happened to Anita. Anita was given a proper funeral so that her soul would rest in peace. Chioma became very popular after the case of Yusuf. People would often meet her to help them communicate with their deceased loved ones, and Chioma continued helping good ghosts. She got married to a pastor years later and had very beautiful children, and they lived happily ever after. The moral lesson of this story reminds us to pay attention to our children and try to study them beyond the scope of your knowledge. Listen to them and try to understand them by getting close to them, instead of jumping into assumptions that may be very dangerous. When something appears too good to be true, then it is definitely too good to be true. Aminat should have known this when Yusuf wanted to marry her so fast, even without dating her to know much about her. As parents, our first goal should be the safety and happiness of our children, instead of trying to use them as a ticket to wealth and end up losing them forever. Instead of concluding and forcing your wish on them, it is wise to ask them why they are making a decision and understand them.